folks. Sarcasm Speaks, Jared and Rob here. We got a guest. Eric is here with us today from our good old hometown of Medford.
Yes, sir. What's going on, guys?
Not too much. That I also just found out recently that you work like 15 minutes from my house. So
yeah, I work in South Attleboro. So if you're ever doing in person in Attleboro, I can stop by after work.
Yeah. So we were just saying right before I hit record, it's an interesting commute from Medford to South Attleboro.
Yeah, it's like, so obviously I'm in Medford now, and then I'd say 90% of the time I spend in my car is the first 15 miles from Boston to Quincy.
Yep.
And then after that, I could get, if I lived in Quincy, I could get to Attleboro in like 20 minutes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, easily. Yeah, it probably takes anywhere between 45 and an hour to get to Quincy, and then 20 minutes to get from Quincy to Attleboro.
Yeah, and lately it's been brutal. There's been accident after accident. I don't know if that's because people are learning to drive again after the pandemic.
Yeah, I noticed that a lot. I've been with my new job, I've been going into Cambridge quite a bit. Yeah. And I carpool with a couple of my coworkers, so we take the HOV lane. We meet up at the Braintree Mall, and there's been so many accidents. Like all three of us, because there's three of us riding together, all three of us had said something at one point. We were like, I don't remember the last time I've seen this many accidents on both ways too. 93 north and south. It's crazy.
The HOV lane in Boston is my biggest gripe, because there's two lanes heading into the 93, heading into the tunnel, and into the biggest highway heading into the biggest city in the state, and there's two lanes. Yeah. But the HOV lane, now they have cops, because I'll sneak in the HOV lane by myself and I'll get through sometimes, but I haven't done it lately because they have cops posted at the beginning and at the end of it.
Yeah.
Out of their car, just pointing at people, pulling them over and ticketing them. And then the cops with the lights, that causes more traffic, and it's just a disaster and bad for everybody.
Yeah. You know what I actually found out? And so one of my coworkers, said this to me the other day, that him and his wife were talking, or his wife's friend said something. And it's a really interesting point that's kind of stuck with me since over the last week. And it was, I'm probably going to butcher it, but it's like any crime that's punishable by a fine is really just a penalty for poor people, essentially, or something like that. And I was like, that's really interesting. Like, that's a really interesting way to think about it. And then he told me that he has a friend who's a state trooper that used to post up on the HOV lanes. And he said there would be people that would drive into the HOV lane and just hand the cop $50 and go, here you go. Because riding in an HOV lane without passengers is a $50 ticket. So it's like
only $50.
Yeah. It's a $50 fine.
Jesus Christ. I'm over here thinking it's $500. Maybe I start doing this more often.
Yeah. I mean, if you
what's the break even? Can you expense that? Can you expense an HOV parking ticket?
I know, right?
Hey, I had to get to work on time. Can I expense this?
It's $250 a week.
You can write it off on your taxes, because it's like, well, work mandates that I'm in at this time, so I got to get there. It's like, same guy used to write off haircuts. He goes, to be a trooper, I have to have certain whatever. He goes, razor blades, haircuts, I write it all off.
Yeah.
So right. Tax write-off for tickets.
Yeah.
I've looked, so I use my parents' family friend for my taxes, and I've had them look into, because I used to have tolls. I used to hit a lot of tolls because I used to work in Connecticut. Mm-hmm. And it's just tough to write off. I mean, that would be awesome. Like, if I could write off miles, if I could write off tolls, but
yeah,
the mile stuff is hard, because it's gotta be on the job.
Yeah.
And it has to be away from like whatever is considered like the home base, home office.
Yeah.
And you can't get reimbursed for. If you get reimbursed for it, then you can't write any of it off. So it's a whole thing. Like,
because I've gotten reimbursed for traveling. Like, if I go to work, we have a sister company in Connecticut, and they'll reimburse the miles. You get like, I don't know, what is it, 55 cents a mile?
Yeah, it changes every year, but it's anywhere from 55 to 60 cents. That's the only thing with like write-offs is it's got to be like, if home base is Attleboro, well, what's the difference from Attleboro to Connecticut? And then you subtract, it's a whole fucking thing.
Yeah.
And if they reimburse you, it takes you out of it. Or if there's any like, oh, well, we're going to give you your rate plus a quarter or whatever. And it's like, that's your travel pay, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think I have this conversation literally. So I'll FaceTime my girlfriend works nights. She was actually the co-host on my other the podcast I had, Social Distancing, which is it's kind of defunct now. We want to bring it back and be like a relationship thing. But she's better than me. She's awesome at it. She's got that knack.
I did catch one episode. I mean, I think it was a year ago or 2 years ago, or coming up on 2 years, maybe.
Yeah.
It was the only thing I remember was it was the one about like decades. You guys were arguing because she didn't follow the rules of whatever decade I mean, truthfully, I can't remember which decades you guys picked.
I chose the 80s.
I was going to say, if I had to guess, probably the 80s, because I think everyone is in agreement that the 80s was the best time ever.
Numero uno, but she chose the best part of every decade. And I'm like, we wanted to choose one decade and explain why we thought that was the best. You're over here saying, okay, well, the 70s music, but then the 90s food and the 80s clothes. I'm like, well, you can't have it all. You got to choose one of these things.
I would say, other than that, you're just defining history.
Yeah. You're a history book. No, so I have a conversation with her almost every morning. I'll FaceTime her as I'm driving in. And I'm like, someone needs to explain to me this HOV lane. I understand it's good for emergency services, but if there's an ambulance or a cop car coming, they throw their sirens on, you're pulling over anyways. You're getting out of the way. If you opened up 3 lanes, you know how much traffic would be minimized there? That's it gets me going every morning.
So we're not a fact-based podcast. So we can always fact check and it can be wrong. I want to say that the HOV stuff started during the gas crisis, so that there were less cars, A, on the road, B, less cars like just sitting there. So they wanted to promote, because in the perfect situation, one car would now take 4 or 5 people as opposed to 4 or 5 people taking their own cars. Yeah. So not only could you keep it moving, but you would also have less total cars. Yeah. But you build a road in the 60s. You got a gas crisis in the 70s. We're fucking 50 years later. And it's like, no, there's a shitload of fucking cars. And there's almost like nothing you can do.
Yeah.
Do you remember it used to be called the carpool lane?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
What does HOV mean?
High occupancy vehicle, I think.
Oh, gotcha. Like a bus.
Yep. But like, why change? Like, why not just still call it the carpool lane?
Because like, 3 letters is easier than carpool. Carpool. 2 syllables. 3 letters, 2 syllables. It's less harder to say.
It's less paint they have to use.
Think of the cops writing those tickets. Carpool lane violation.
Oh yeah, no. Everything for them is a code or an acronym, whatever. For them, it's probably just an 1140.
So what was it? It had to have been for. No, where were we? We were going somewhere. Amy and I were going somewhere into Boston. It had to have been Bill's wedding.
Stearns?
Yeah. He just got married a couple weeks ago. But as we were, because we were together and I wasn't for that. I don't know, whatever. Doesn't matter. But we were in the car at some point, and I remember turning to her and being like, I wonder if the HOV lane actually helps at all anymore, or if it actually causes more traffic. Because let's just say on a morning commute, right? Most of your traffic is going to be going towards the city. So for anyone, maybe people that live across the country don't have HOV lanes because we're just idiots here in the Northeast. So to explain it for those people, it's a separate lane on the opposite side of the highway that gets opened up for carpooling, essentially. So let's say you're coming into Boston from Medford, right? And so 93 South is the highway. That's going to have traffic no matter what.
Always.
So if you open the HOV lane on 93 northbound, what normally wouldn't have traffic on 93 northbound is now going to have traffic because now you're down an entire lane. So depending on where you are in the section of 93, you're either going to be down to 3 lanes or 2 lanes. So it's like, that's what I mean. Like, I almost wonder if in today's world, the HOV actually hurts more than it helps.
Well, you got to remember with the 2 prominent HOV lanes on 93, so south is a permanent HOV. It's always there.
Yeah.
Like when you pick it up, what is it? Pick it up in Somerville or something?
Yeah, south, north of the city, it's always
right.
there. Yep.
But south of the city is the movable.
But that's always an HOV. It doesn't take one away from north. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
So they just move the barriers to where the entrance is. So yeah, theoretically, that one might actually make, in spirit, some sense, because when you so what's with my pattern? So north, so from the south of the city going north, you have an extra lane in the morning.
Yeah.
Then coming south from the city, you have an extra lane in the afternoon. So that one might actually make a little bit of sense, which I've also found that one actually seems to keep going.
Most of the time, yeah.
But the one north of the city on 93 South is just permanent. It's a permanent structure. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
That's where the most issues are too, because you just funnel into the city.
Yeah.
You go from,
because then it kicks you off right in the Zachem, right on the underpass.
Yeah. Spits you out right at the Zachem. Yep.
Yeah. Great.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I feel like I've had 800 conversations in the last month about public transit, whether it's roads, bikes, buses. I don't know.
It's well, Boston is just such a poorly constructed city for travel, like travel wise. It's so stupid.
It was built for horses.
Yeah. Well, because now that I think of it, I was in Connecticut not that long ago and driving on, I think it's 84 out of Hartford.
Yep.
They have HOV lanes. They have 2 HOV lanes actually on their left side of the highway. And they actually have the potential for being in an HOV lane to use exits on the highway. It like goes up and over and around. It does some like fucked up shit. But like if you're in the HOV lane in Massachusetts, you ain't getting off the highway. You can't get to any of the exits. So it's like, at least the one in Connecticut kind of makes sense, where it's like it's its own separate thing. And then you have, I think it's 384 is like the exit or something like that. You can hop off on and go from there. But if you're in an HOV lane in Massachusetts, you're fucked. You ain't getting out of it.
I used to live right there, East Hartford, right where that whole split is. But those highways are those highways are huge.
Yeah, they're like it's like a 6-lane highway.
I remember New Jersey was 8 lanes, and this was actually driving through New Jersey when we went to Baltimore. I remember 8 lanes, and I also remember it was almost like 2 highways running parallel, where there was like 4 lanes with exits, and then next to us was 4 more lanes with the same exits, or something like that. Yeah. Again, we were driving through New Jersey probably at midnight, 11 p.m., something like that. Yeah. Hour 5 of 7. So I remember that, and I'm like, there is nobody out here. Like, yeah, if you spread it out over 6-8 lanes, where are people going to be?
Yeah. It's just very poor construction. And it's like, I remember, did you ever watch, is it Top Gear?
Yeah.
I remember they did an episode where they went over to, it was like India or like Pakistan or like some country in like Southeast Asia. And they were like, oh, they're building a new capital city. So what they did was they built an 18-lane highway so 9 going in and 9 coming out into this capital city that, like, at the time when they filmed it, there was like 7 cars on the road and it looked absolutely ridiculous. But they were like, well, this is going to be our new capital city. So in 25 years, we're going to need all of these lanes. And I remember being like, wow, that is so smart. We're in the United States, we're like, oh, we got a new city. Let's give them 4 lanes. And then like 30 years later, we're like, wow, we could have used like an extra 4 lanes here.
My biggest thing is too, 93. My father always tells me, yeah, this used to be a field, you know? And I'm from North Medford, right by Nico's.
Mm-hmm.
That highway was made in like the 30s. there's 30 times more people going into the city now, especially with all the people moving out of the city.
Oh,
Now every morning everyone's going in,
right.
if they don't work remote anymore, and it's just got to be better. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's got to be better.
Yeah, it's
maybe Mrs. Wu will change something somehow.
Yeah, well, hopefully that problem's not too white for her to handle.
I know.
Well, traffic probably is a white people problem because it's unfair to assume that minorities drive cars, but it's also it's not racist to say that.
Yeah.
like snow plowing.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I thought you were
unfair.
going to touch on that. That was unbelievable, that story. The snow. I'm sure you guys talked about it. That was unbelievable.
Yeah. Yep.
Snow plowing is sexist and racist.
Yeah.
Because
only white men use main roads. Only white men use main roads. That was unbelievable.
Yeah. That was absolutely ridiculous. And then what was the other thing too? It was like the whole ID thing, right? Like the voter ID thing being like, oh, well, that's racist. It's like, well, are you like inherently assuming that minorities don't know how to obtain IDs? I'm pretty sure everyone is capable.
Yeah, I think that was definitely a little more nationwide. And people take like rural Georgia. It's people trying to defend it by saying, when they go, it's like, oh, it's racist to ask for an ID. It's like, well, why? If they're free. It's like, oh, well, there's undocumented people too. And we're like, okay. So someone poses the question, it's like, well, if they're undocumented, should they be allowed to vote? And they're like, well, no, it's not those people. It's the one that grew up on farms and never did paperwork. Dude, how many people in rural Georgia grew up on a fucking farm and never did paperwork that they actually exist?
Yeah. How many people born in the United States don't have a social security number?
Yeah. And it's like,
it's got to be less than 1,000.
Dude, I don't want to diminish that. Like, some people are ancestors of slaves who didn't have like a proper chain of ancestry or whatever. But like, man, it's 2022. Like, that was a long time ago to get some level of paperwork in order of something.
Yeah, we have computers now.
Plus, really how easy. Fucking like how rural is rural Georgia, honestly?
So I could be dumb here. When you're born, are you automatically given a social security number?
You have to. Okay, so if you're born in a hospital, yes, because there's a record of you being born and alive and parents. What some people are saying is, oh, no, they don't go to hospitals. They're just born in the barn or whatever. It's like they're fucking calves.
They're born next to the cow stall.
Like they just fall out into the fucking hay. And it's
so
like,
I'm thinking Amish people don't have social security numbers.
Potentially not.
They might not.
Yeah, they might not.
They're completely off.
But don't let the Amish fool you, because
there's always a Rumspringer.
Well, no. We know everyone knows the deal with the Amish. But one of the kids was telling me his father owns a very small car dealership, like a used car, small lot. Like, I don't even know how many cars he's got on the lot, but it's a very small operation. And it's been in the family probably since like the 30s, 40s, whatever. So a brand new building went up. So offices and probably like a mini showroom type of thing. So that's not the trailer anymore.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh yeah, the Amish built it. I go, what the fuck do you mean the Amish built it? He goes, yeah, my father was trying to get quotes and he didn't like any of the quotes. So he drove to Pennsylvania and he hired the Amish.
Jesus.
I'm like, what do you like? Did he just go to fucking Amish country and be like, hey, I need a building in Massachusetts? And they're like, yeah, sure, we got you, man.
Yeah, let me hop on my horse and buggy. I'll see you in 4 months.
So I was like, okay, this is what I told him this. And of course, high school kid didn't fucking follow through. I go, you need to answer the following questions for me. Number one, how did they get here? Number two, are they full of shit? Like, are they using compressors or are they fucking sitting there hammering in every nail? Yeah. Like I'm mostly like, dude, how did they get here? That's my main question. Like, are they allowed to take trains? Like,
I think there's levels to being Amish. Like, I think it's like,
like Orthodox.
It's like Jews
and
like,
shit.
you know how there's like the Orthodox Jews, and then there's like, you know, your casual Jew.
Yeah.
Like I think there's like casual Amish, and then there's like the Orthodox Amish that like that like don't fuck around with anything.
So this is like the what was that movie with Seth Green? He was an Amish person. Sex Drive, where they drove across the country.
I never saw it.
Yeah, no, I remember it.
And then it's like, so Seth Green's like fucking with them because they're talking to him as though he's like a fucking Neanderthal. He's like, dude, I know what you're talking about. Like, whatever. And he explains all the parts of like a car. He goes, oh, you mean like, like rattles it off. And they're like, oh man, something like the internet. He looks at it, he goes, internet? And they're like, oh, it's this thing. He goes, I'm just fucking with you. He goes, yeah, I know what this shit is. Like, whatever.
So I don't know. Do you guys remember there was I don't know why we're talking about Amish, but there was a show on Discovery about Amish people, and it like went into like the underworld of the Amish and like these like raves they would have, and it was just like a crazy lifestyle. Shit. I don't remember the name of the show, but it was kind of wild.
I do remember vaguely that show being on TV, but I don't think I ever watched it. Like I remember because I remember seeing it and being like, that's weird. Like, aren't they supposed to be like anti-TV, but they have their own TV show?
Yeah.
Like that. I remember that part of it in my brain. Like I said,
Amish Mafia. That was the name of the show. Amish Mafia.
That's awesome.
That's great.
Have you guys follow LeBron James on Instagram?
No,
I do not.
So he's an Amish. I'm assuming he's Amish, but he works on a farm, and he just creates all these like workout devices and hoops and stuff out of farm equipment.
Oh,
so
shit.
his name's LeBron James. SportsCenter always shares his stuff. It's kind of
that's hilarious. Well, speaking of SportsCenter, we've had some interesting happenings with one of the employees of ESPN recently. So unfortunately, if anyone out there doesn't follow sports or you haven't heard yet, Dwayne Haskins, who was the former quarterback for Ohio State, and has since been with Washington and Pittsburgh, I think, in the NFL.
Yep.
He was going to start this year too.
Yeah, he died the other day.
Yesterday morning.
So I don't think full details have really come out yet, but what I've been able to piece together, thanks to Twitter, is he was riding a motorcycle on the highway in Florida. Motorcycle ran out of gas, and he was walking along the highway, I'm assuming trying to get to a gas station to get gas. And he tried to cross the highway at one point and got struck by a dump truck. And I'm assuming was killed instantly. You don't get hit by a dump truck and, you know, kind of hang around. Like, those things are fucking huge. So that's pretty unfortunate. I think he was 25, like super young. So he was a former quarterback at Ohio State. Now I want to emphasize that because there was the most famous employee, I would say right now at ESPN, is one Adam Schefter, when it comes to NFL, at least, who is an alum of Michigan, the University of Michigan.
Wow, I didn't even put that together.
So when Dwayne Haskins when it was first announced that he had died, Adam Schefter was one of the first people to report on it from ESPN. And I don't have the original tweet because it was since deleted, but it was something along the lines of Dwayne Haskins. Oh, yeah, you have it.
So this is what he said, I think, yesterday morning. Adam Schefter. Dwayne Haskins, a standout at Ohio State before struggling to catch on with Washington and Pittsburgh in the NFL, died this morning when he got hit by a car in South Florida. Per his agent, Cedric Saunders, Haskins would have turned 25 years old on May 3rd.
Yeah. So a lot of people had a lot of problems with him putting in, for no reason, the part about him struggling to catch on in the NFL literally hours after he died.
Well, Schefter had, and that's the thing, Schefter had it first.
Right.
And this is just a tweet. This isn't an article. This isn't like a full form, like,
right, where you're going into details of his career.
And it's like,
it's like
he's
144 characters or less.
He's not wrong. It's just, was that relevant to the first tweet?
Right. Right. So when I first saw that and I saw everyone flipping out, my immediate thought was, well, one, he's a cocksucker. Because that's unnecessary, right? Like, you don't need to put that part into it.
It didn't bring anything valuable.
Added nothing.
No,
to
added
the
nothing.
Situation.
Like I said, like the guy literally just died like hours ago, tragically. Like, not like that's a tragic way to die. Like, he fucking tried to cross a highway and got hit by a dump truck. Like, that's awful. And you're throwing shade at him for not being a good NFL quarterback.
Yeah, it's just
but
weird.
Again, my first thought was Dwayne Haskins, Ohio State, Adam Schefter, University of Michigan. Like, was he being petty because of that? And if he was, like, that's a real bad look. Like, either way, it's a bad look. But like, if you snuck that in there because you have something against him because he went to your rival, like, that's a really bad look.
It's an odd way to phrase an announcement like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, why can't you just be like, tragically, Dwayne Haskins, 25, dies, per his agent, more news to come as available. You know what I mean? Like, that's not hard to do.
No. So me being my Twitter aggressive self, I replied to him. I said, "Who gives a fuck how he did in the NFL, you dickhead? Show some damn respect and remorse." Now I am auto-blocked by Twitter from viewing Adam Schefter's tweets temporarily. And it's funny because there's a little blurb that if you go to his page when you're blocked by Twitter, which I've never seen before. I've been blocked by, like, Josina Anderson has me blocked. I think Woody Page has me blocked. All these people have me blocked. I guess not something to be proud of, but hey, what are you gonna do? But if it gives you a little blurb. It says auto blocked by Twitter. You are temporarily auto blocked from viewing, blah, blah, blah. But if you scroll down, here are ways to keep conversations healthy and avoid getting auto blocked. The first one, remember the human. There's a person on the other end of your tweet with feelings. This guy had zero remorse for the person's family, or the situation. Hey, he sucked in the NFL. This guy just died. He's 24 years old.
Yeah.
He didn't get auto blocked by Twitter,
Yeah, like, you don't have to be like, oh, hey, this guy that just died, he sucked in the NFL and now he's dead. It's like, no, man, like, it sucks that he's dead. Just leave it at that.
And he's been toting that line for a while now with kind of almost like audacious tweets, and just his personality is I think he's getting a little full of himself, and kind of, he's got to be checked. But
did he, I know he, the latest one was he had the Brady info first
and was wrong.
And was wrong, kinda, or was wrong on timing. Yeah. Because then Brady did retire, but then he didn't. So the whole thing's fucked.
Yeah.
Did he have another situation where he tweeted something fucking stupid?
He did. So I'm looking for it now because I'm pretty sure I liked it on Twitter. But there was a tweet that I saw yesterday at some point. It was like 5 or 6 bullet points.
I saw that too.
Of everything that he's done over like the course of the last like 9 months. And one of them was the Brady thing. One of them was Dwayne Haskins. And there was like 3 or 4 other ones on there.
Want me to read it?
Yeah.
So some guy, Garrett Ferguson from Garrett Sprints, his Twitter page. In the last year, Adam Schefter misrepresented the Dalvin Cook domestic violence situation, which I don't remember a ton of, misrepresented the Aaron Rodgers situation, missed on the Brady retirement. He said Deshaun Watson was innocent and was insensitive to victims of sexual harassment without knowing anything really. And then now the Dwayne Haskins whole situation.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember the Deshaun Watson thing, saying he was innocent. And then he had to send out like a whole new tweet that was like, oh, my bad. Like, I meant that like he was not guilty, which doesn't mean he's innocent. And like, he went on this whole thing. And it's like, dude, you're a sports writer. Like, just stick to sports, man. Like,
that's it. And that's the thing is, what he is a breaking news guy. He's an insider, and
Right.
Twitter is his main platform. You don't fucking write, dude. Like, don't try to write when you're tweeting. Just play the hits.
He's made his millions off, like you said, facts, not like opinion-based articles or opinion-based tweets. Like, I don't want to hear what you think about Dwayne Haskins' career, rest in peace, but like,
yeah, like if you want, if you're Dan Shaughnessy and you want to say Dwayne Haskins was struck by a car, here are some details. First paragraph. Second paragraph, a standout at Ohio State, and here's some shit about what he did at Ohio State. Third paragraph, he was originally drafted by the Washington, probably originally drafted by the Redskins, and then cut by the football team, or maybe not. I don't know. Started whatever. Here are some things. After struggling with Washington, they let him go, and he was signed by Pittsburgh, where he primarily was a backup and on the practice squad. Like, but that's the article. That's not the tweet. The tweet is Dwayne Haskins, a former standout at Ohio State and quarterback for Washington and Pittsburgh, was struck by a car and tragically killed. He would have been 25 on May, whatever. Yeah. And done. You have 280 characters. You don't have to fucking use them.
Yeah. You don't have to go, well, he struggled in the NFL. It's unnecessary.
Worst part is too, Schefter knows that will be screen grabbed, shared on like every news channel. Hey, Adam Schefter had this first, which is also weird. Like, we're talking about a person kind of dying. Yeah. He had it first is what they'll say on the news and all that.
Right.
And he knows that screen grab will be shared, and he knows millions of people are going to see struggled in the NFL. I don't know. It's just an odd thing. And people aren't happy. There's other athletes kind of trashing Schefter. And
Jacoby Myers, I think, was like, yo, Adam Schefter's a clown. Like, he flat out tweeted and goes, Adam Schefter's a clown. And I was like, that's amazing. You have like this bum wide receiver on the New England Patriots who just called Adam Schefter a clown. That's hilarious. So, I mean, there's been a lot of, I think Des Bryant came out and made actually like a profound statement, which I don't know, seems weird to me because it's Des Bryant, but he said something along the lines of like, this is how people view us. Anyone that's a professional in the NFL, take note. We're nothing but entertainment to these types or something like that. And I was like, wow, like,
I agree.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, like someone like an Adam Schefter, he doesn't give a fuck about Dwayne Haskins or a Jacoby Myers or a Des Bryant. Like, he doesn't care. He only cares about, like you said, being the first one to report the story.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, oh, look at me. I'm the best. So,
like, do I know Dwayne Haskins? Obviously not. Like, does his death affect me? No, not really. Right. But
yeah,
you gotta, not that I have the platform that Schefter has, but like, have a little bit of remorse and kind of respect.
You're not gonna shit on the guy right after he dies.
Yeah, just have some common sense and decency, you know?
Yeah. But like, that's been his whole shtick, I guess, over the last year. Like you said, starting with the Dalvin Cook thing, like, he only cares about being the first guy to report something rather than like getting all the facts, which kind of sounds a lot like mainstream media today.
Yeah. And again, we said it earlier. It's like the opinion. Leave your opinion out of it. Just fucking tweet, you dumb fuck.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Frankly, no one really cares about your opinion anyway. Just report it.
Yeah.
That's what you do. Just report it.
Yep.
I don't want your thoughts. There's a reason why I don't read fucking beat writers. It's because I don't really want their thoughts. I don't really care what Ben Volin has to say. Like,
trolling Volin.
Oh yeah.
He's such a pussy. It's just like, I can't even listen to him.
Speaking of being aggressive on Twitter, I've gone at Ben Volin pretty hard probably over the last few months. There was one day I just started ripping. It was awesome. I didn't get blocked by him though, so that was good, I guess.
They get so sensitive.
Yeah. There was one day.
Well, yeah, they got no problem running their mouth, and then when people turn on them, then they get so fucking ugh.
Yeah. Well, there was one day, not that long ago, because I was still teaching at the school I was at before. And it was right after was it Mac Wilson? Is that his name? His trade? No, not.
Yeah, it was Mac Wilson,
the Mac Wilson trade, the linebacker
from the Browns. Yep.
And I think it was Evan Lazar was like, oh yeah, this is a great pickup. And like people were calling it like, oh, he's a game changer or whatever. And I just started going off. Like I went on a tirade on Twitter and people are tweeting at me being like, you don't fucking know this. And I'm like, dude, you're not listening to what I'm saying. Like all I'm saying is like, this guy's a special teamer. Like if he comes in and gives you something on the field, like that's fine, but don't sit there and say he's a game changer because that's fucking ridiculous. And
we
like
also traded Chase Winovich for him. You know, it's not like
right. It was my whole premise was it was a trash for trash trade. Correct. Like you had a outside linebacker that couldn't catch on. He didn't fit the system and ended up being a special teamer. And you traded him for an inside linebacker that couldn't catch on his team and ended up being a special teamer.
Yeah. You hope that a change of scenery helps both of the guys.
Yeah. But like
it very well might still. Whatever,
there's people on Twitter that were like, well, all they need is a change of scenery and they'll be great. I'm like, no, that's not true.
Well, you don't know that. Yeah.
How many guys get traded in the NFL
Mingo.
And then get cut?
Mingo.
Yeah. Coney Ealy. Like, and that's just off the top of my head.
The issue with Coney Ealy is I guess he had a good Super Bowl. I don't want to say he was good. He had a very good Super Bowl, which is why people had eyeballs on him.
Yeah.
And then, could make it out of training camp. Barkevious Mingo is the most recent example where first round pick wasn't really doing it with Cleveland. He was also 6th overall. What was Mac Wilson, 3rd or 5th rounder or something?
Yeah, 5th rounder.
So he was like the 6th overall. Like he was supposed to be good. Came here, cheap deal. And it was like, oh, okay, yeah, no, he's just a special teamer. That's all there is here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Cleveland did a bad job drafting. That's weird.
No kidding.
Especially back then, that was probably what Mingo was probably 2013. Yeah. So like right in the middle of like their Johnny Manziel, Mingo. They had 2 picks that year, the Manziel year. I don't remember who the other guy was.
Yeah, I don't know. Josh Gordon.
Was it that tight end? Majoku or whatever? Might have been him.
Oh, could have been
him because he's up for a new deal. So Manziel was what, 2014, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Maybe Njoku got something else. Yeah, could have been him. Yeah, sick guy who can't catch.
Yeah,
an athletic tight end that can't catch.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Well, that's literally Asiasi and what's his dick? Dalton Keene.
I'll never forgive that draft.
We've had some pretty bad drafts in that. Like there was like a 3-year stretch.
So I as bad
what was
as
the Antonio Garcia year?
That was 17.
17.
So as bad as 19 was, and it is bad, and especially upon further review, it's worse. So it's like, do you want to hate 17 more because you had Wise, Garcia, Derek Rivers, and I think McDermott. I think it was another tackle. That was it though. So you only had 4 picks and you missed on 3 out of 4. Or is 19 worse because there's just more misses?
I mean,
but it's like I don't think that. Yeah, it was 19, right? No, wait, was Asiasi 20?
Asiasi was the same year as Keene.
That was 20.
That might have been the 20 draft. Okay,
20, because 19 was N'Keal Harry.
Yeah, it was N'Keal Harry and Joe Juwan and Winovich.
Yeah.
The 20 draft, they moved back and got Duggar. Then it was Keene or Asiasi, Keene, and one other player. No, they had the 3. I don't even remember.
They took 2 tight ends in the 3rd round. Both are not playing.
Yeah.
And then they took that kicker, Rorschach or whatever.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
In the 5th round.
The racist guy, the 3%er.
So the 20 draft, 2/3 don't play, and then the 5th one isn't even on the team, the 5th rounder.
That was bullshit, but I still believe that.
Nasty.
I think that kid was actually really good, but he got fucked because he had a dumb tattoo. Like literally he was fucked from the get-go because of all places he came to New England. Yep. Like if he had gotten drafted by like Dallas, he would have been fine. Yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like,
he'd be the fucking kicker for Cincinnati right now.
Yeah, if he
They
went
love
to
him.
if he went to Jacksonville or like literally anywhere that wasn't like San Francisco or New England, like he would have been fine. But because he had some stupid tattoo that he got when he was 17 years old, like he just was fucked from the beginning. So I don't know, because he had
no shot.
He had a cannon. I remember that the training camp, I think someone said he hit like a 60-yarder or something like that. Like he was, I mean, apparently he wasn't very accurate, and 57-year-old Nick Folk ended up beating him out for the job, and actually still
Folk's
has
been
the
unbelievable.
job. Yeah, I know.
Folk's
Who would have
been
thought
unreal.
it? Like the guy that got cut by the New York Jets would have ended up being a really good kicker.
Their best offensive player.
Yeah, seriously.
I think
and Bailey.
I think
Bailey had a down year.
Yeah,
he did.
Yeah, Weapon X. But so I mean, it'll be interesting. I think they're fucked this year.
Yeah, I think they're going to struggle.
Anybody that thinks that they're going to be like, oh yeah, they're going to be back. No, I don't think so.
I talked to like my friends, and everybody got better. They did nothing.
Yeah.
They haven't gotten better. I guess Devontae Parker, sure, but they wide receiver was obviously a need. But to like stop a Bills offense, to stop a Chiefs offense, to stop the Dolphins now, they have no speed at linebacker. They have no cornerback. Right. They lost their one great corner. Okay, they bring in Malcolm Butler, who I don't know, hasn't played in a couple of years. And then
he couldn't hang in Arizona.
Yeah.
So get ready for a lot of soft zone this year.
Oh yeah.
And but don't break.
Because with the corners that you're trotting out there, you are not a man defense. It's going to be because Butler, Mills, Jones.
Yep.
You got the three safety.
Their best corner is Jones, who's coming off of hip surgery, and
he's a slot
maybe
corner.
He'll still be. He's a slot
guy.
Corner. You know what I mean?
So this is the other thing too with Mills. So I don't want to pretend Jalen Mills is something he's not, in terms of like giving him a shred of credit, couple percent. He is not a man up guy.
No.
So him getting shredded the way he got shredded, that's not hard to see. He was a fucking free safety before he came here. So, or the year before he came here. Because he was a corner before that. So
and I thought he showed a little bit last year.
Yeah, and so it's gonna be gross this year though. It's gonna be disgusting. It's gonna be soft zone. We're playing the AFC West, so you got all those quarterbacks. We're playing the what are we playing the NFC? NFC North. So you got those quarterbacks too. So good fucking luck. I think a lot of the bettors are saying 11th best team in the AFC, and that's probably right, outside of some luck here and there, because they have like the 4th hardest schedule.
I think most of the books have them at 8.5 over under.
Yep.
That's probably about right. I was going to say 9 wins. Looking at like a 9-8 season.
Yeah.
Because they won 10 last year.
They won 10 last year. So yeah, they're playing a lot of quarterbacks. That's I don't know. I'm interested to see how the draft goes. I'm still optimistic, and I won't form my opinion yet. I think getting Devontae Parker when they got him at the time they got him makes them better than they were the day before they got him.
Yeah.
But that doesn't change that they didn't do much before that.
Right.
And
it's also like Devontae Parker is not like a lights out number 1 wide receiver. He's not even a true outside the numbers guy. He plays more in the slot. He's like a 6'4" slot guy.
Yeah. So he's going to remind me of Josh Gordon, and he catches a lot of balls with his body. He's going to catch them over the middle. He's going to catch slants.
He's what N'Keal Harry should be.
That's exactly
even then, no, because whatever N'Keal Harry should be, so N'Keal Harry probably sucks, but the Patriots also won't allow that player to be the player, because it's force it up to Julio. Like that's kind of what N'Keal Harry would have to be. Because if you throw him a 50-50 ball and he catches half of them, that's not a lot of catches, but he caught half of them.
So
right.
You're exactly right. And then this just goes back to Bill's drafting for me.
Yeah, like why?
Why draft him then?
Like everyone knew Deebo Samuel was going to be good. Everyone knew he was probably going to be the guy. Somehow slipped to the second round despite all that knowledge.
Look at the players who went right after that.
And AJ Brown.
You know, AJ Brown, Deebo Samuel. I've had this Terry McLaurin, if you wanted a big guy, DK Metcalf. Ayuk that same draft?
No, Ayuk was the next year.
But all these people right after them.
I think, and that's the thing is like, so a lot of people say, oh man, they could have got Metcalf. I'm like, I think Metcalf would be the same player, Nikhil, maybe a little bit, whatever. I think it would be a similar situation. I think AJ Brown or Deebo Samuel would look nice in that navy blue though.
Yeah. Terry. I love Terry.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, he would be good too. He was just he came so much later that I don't want to always say like, oh, really missed out. It's like, yeah, but he got passed over a lot by a lot of like each team passed over him 2, maybe 3 times.
Yep.
Right. We knew AJ Brown, Deebo Samuel, like I remember those guys being like the fit.
Yeah.
So I like Parker. I know McDaniels isn't here anymore, but that's the type of receiver that would fit good in that scheme. So I don't know what's happening with the offense or the defense.
This is the first year that I can ever remember where we go into the season being like, I have no fucking clue what's going on.
No idea.
Because
outside of a zone,
Josh McDaniels is gone. There's no one to run the defense. Like,
well, to be fair, the defense is the same as last year. It's the same people, personnel.
Yeah.
And Matty P moved over to the offense. I don't know how. I don't know.
Patricia's running the offense now, or he's the offensive line coach. Sick.
And Joe Judge is the quarterback coach who's never coached offense or quarterback in his career.
It's the amoeba coaching staff.
Yeah. There's no offense.
Like, what are you? By title, I'm the QB coach, but I'm also going to help with special teams. And I got running backs today.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's like I just hope Matt Patricia's not calling the plays, which is good. Like we don't know who's going to be calling the offensive plays. Who's the fucking playbook, right? Because Josh is gone. So we've had the same offense for 12 years, right? When did Josh come back? 10 or 11?
When did they win the Super Bowl against the Seahawks? Was that 11?
That was 14. He came back before that. So McDaniels came back as like a special advisor for the 2011 Super Bowl they lost. So he was not on that coaching staff. He was with the Rams. Yeah. And he got canned, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, so he went to the Rams.
12.
Yeah. Yep, you're right.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly 12 right here.
So we've had the same offense for 10 years. And it's like, well, now what? We also don't have an offensive coordinator. So now you have a young quarterback in his second year that doesn't have an offensive coordinator. And are you just going to run the same playbook that Josh did? So now anytime we play, like if we're playing Vegas this year, is Josh just going to be like, oh, these assholes are running my playbook still. So let's just stop them. You know what I mean? Like, what are we doing? It's just wild. Like I said, this is the first time probably in the Belichick era where we're just like, we have no fucking idea what's going on.
And I'm more stunned too that he didn't really do much this offseason in terms of kind of getting Mac what he would really need. Even like the offensive line is falling apart too because they lost a couple of guys.
Right.
But offensively, either the line or outside, they spent some money last year, but clearly those receivers really didn't hit. So you kind of got to reassess the situation. But since he really drafted Jimmy Garoppolo, he's wanted a quarterback on a rookie deal.
Yeah.
For that cheap money. Now he has it. This is when you kind of seize that opportunity and spend and give that rookie deal the opportunity to win.
Right. I think it was big bringing back Trent Brown.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That was huge. They would have been fucked.
There's a guard in the draft that's supposed to be like
Zion Johnson from BC. Local guy.
He's supposed to be the guy. Great, fucking Leo's
which awesome, cool. Hey, pretty cool. Like if you get like Logan Mankins, that's pretty awesome.
What I mean,
but
that's what we're looking at.
But if you're drafting a guard in the first round right now, that's pretty fucking lame.
Stop. If you get Logan Mankins again, you take that player at 21.
Yeah, for 10 years you have a guard.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I look at guys.
It's not flashy, it's not sexy, but and I hate this argument. Let the record show I do hate this argument. they have a fuckload of cap room again next year. So
Right.
yes, I know that makes this year kind of fucking annoying because you shouldn't just be like, oh, well, we'll punt on this year. It's like, cool, we did that in 2020. So we're doing it again in 2022. But I think.
What do you mean? Cam Newton was great.
They're not built for all the movement that happened with the quarterbacks. So I'll give them a little bit of credit. Like you can't just be like, oh, wow, all these quarterbacks just moved all these teams and now they're all on our schedule. It's like, we can't just go out and fantasy draft. Like,
right.
And like giving JC Jackson 17 million, would it help this year? Yeah. Do you like the player? We do. But what does it mean when his cap hit is massive for a cornerback?
Right.
So you have to weigh those things. I don't know what's right, wrong, and different. And then it's like Aguilar. I never liked Aguilar, the player, but Aguilar, the contract after what happened this offseason looks pretty cheap now.
Yeah, exactly. 15 million.
Yeah. So I don't like the player. I think the player has issues, but like the contract.
Well, even more along those lines, Kendrick Bourne. Kendrick Bourne is an absolute steal. What is he making? Like 10 million a year?
Even less.
Not even. He's probably making 5 to 7.
Yeah, that's insane.
He was a nobody in fucking San Francisco.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess for me, what I was getting at was I would much rather Nakobe Dean, because if you look at,
he won't be there.
If you look at obviously the holes, right, that the Pats have, O-line's one of them because we just shipped Shaq Mason.
There's one spot missing on the line.
But I look at it like you have a much bigger need at linebacker. Like everyone's getting pumped up about Mac Wilson, like we were just talking about. Like that's a problem. Like if people are excited about Mac Wilson, like you have a problem at linebacker. So if Nakobe Dean's on the board and they draft Zion Johnson, like you said, cool. If he becomes Logan Mankins and you have that for 10 years, I mean, I can't say it's a bad pick, right? But like, what if you could have got? What if Nakobe Dean turns out to be like I don't know, maybe not like a Luke Kuechly, but like
Roquan Smith.
A Roquan Smith.
Is there a realistic chance that Dean's still there at 21?
Yeah, I've seen it in
really?
a couple mock drafts. Yeah. Well, there was one mock draft.
My only question is why?
Well, I don't know. Well, because
shouldn't he be like a top 15 pick?
Well, this is the
I'm
other
looking at
thing.
a recent one here. He's at 27.
I was just going to say,
so what happened?
The one I saw had Nakobe Dean going after the Pats took Zion Johnson.
So what happened to that guy?
I think you run into the problem where there's only so many picks available, right?
Yeah.
So like this was, I
also thought I thought he was first linebacker off. Like,
so I give Evan Lazar a lot of credit for this part, even though I shit on him before, but he, like every time he posts something about some prospect in the NFL draft, everyone blows him up in his comments and goes, oh, he's not going to be there. Oh, he's not going to be there. And he always says, you realize there's only 20 picks before us, right? Like there can only be 20 players taken. So if I've listed like 40 and you think they're all going to be gone. So something like, and he just went on this Twitter tirade one day, just ripping people that are commenting on him, be like, oh, that guy's not going to be available. And he's like, well, some of them are just by default, right? Like there's only 20 players that are going to be taken before you.
Well, there's also a tackle. I think he's out of Northern Iowa. Do they wear purple jerseys? Does anyone know?
I don't know.
I think it might be Northern Iowa as a tackle. And
Trevor Penning.
I think that could be it. And he's like a first round later pick, and the fucking gamblers are expecting him to fucking fly up top 10. And I don't know where they always get their info from, but when someone talks about that in what month? It's in March.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, so we're going to have some people like shooting up, which means obviously some people have to shoot back too. That's the part people forget.
Apparently this is a really good draft for corner too. I don't know the draft well right now as it sits on.
No, I don't really do a ton of the draft stuff.
I mean, the most stuff I used to do was our draft board where we threw knives at a draft magazine. And that we actually hit a bunch of picks do it that way. But
do you want them to draft the receiver in the first round?
No.
God, no.
Yeah.
Everyone
I don't trust their ability to do it.
Everyone keeps saying Chris Olave, like that kid from
he is fucking
Ohio State.
sliding right now.
And it's like, no, I don't, no, stop, just stop. Because we tried that before. It didn't work. You just traded for Devontae Parker. Like, we're good. Wide receiver is not great, but like, I'm all set with you trying to draft a wide receiver.
Remember when Chris Olave was like, I mean, him and Garrett Wilson were like, hey, one of them is going to be the first receiver off. Yeah, Olave's down to 5th.
Yeah. So
I don't want the 5th best receiver in the first round.
Who was the kid from Ohio State who had that ridiculous game in the bowl?
It's probably Wilson.
Was it Wilson?
Because they were teammates.
Because they had 3 monsters. What do you think about? Do you think Jordan Davis is going to slide? People keep thinking he's going to slide a little. I don't know.
I would take him.
Yeah,
instantly. In a fucking heartbeat.
Yeah,
he gets to 15. Trade the fuck up.
Let him and Barmore just fucking.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing. You're not going to have to worry about too much coverage in your fucking soft zone if those 2 fucking barbarians are fucking rushing up the middle. Give me SEC defensive linemen. I'm good. Like, that's fine with me. Like, just let the freaks play football.
Get the athlete.
Yeah. If up front you have Davis, Barmore, Judon, and Wise,
and then you mix in a Lawrence guy and some other people, that's a lot of beef.
That's a lot of beef.
That is. That's wet dream.
Yeah. You're looking at only having 2 or 3 down linemen and still creating problems and pressure, right? Like you could theoretically throw out a Lawrence guy and a Jordan Davis, who are both, well, I mean, Jordan Davis is just a behemoth. He's like 6'8" or whatever, but like Lawrence guy's like 6'6". If you put Guy and Davis next to each other, they're going to eat up like 3 or 4 guys just because they're fucking huge.
He might even trot out he might put Barmore, Guy, and Davis out there and just let Judon stand up.
Yeah.
3 guys occupying 5.
Yeah, I would love. So my thing too is if Davis and Dean are on the board and they take Zion Johnson, I'm going to be a little upset.
Me too.
But like I said before, like if he ends up being Logan Mankins and you have that for a while, I like I said, I can't say that it sucks and I can't say it was a bad pick either, but you could have done better, right?
And I'm not excited about it.
I think disappointed is the right word. I can understand it. I can understand it. But this is how the Patriots draft. You sit there and you go, look at these 2. They're still here.
Yeah.
And it's like, you draft the guard and it's like, okay, cool. So we have the guard for the next 10 years. You don't have to worry about it. The guy's probably going to be an all-pro and we'll probably trade him 2 years before his contract's up and everyone will be pissed about it when they get a 5th rounder in return. And it's like, but what could have been?
Yeah. Yeah.
With all this being said, they'll trade out of the first round.
Yep. Absolutely.
To draft D-backs in the second round.
Typically, when Bill does go defense in the first round,
he
doesn't miss, right? All the way back to Will Fork, Mayo.
And the only guy he missed on was Easley. I almost said Ely again, but he missed on him because that was like a flyer. Like,
yeah, he was
hurt.
Looking back on it, that's kind of a dumb pick. I mean, I know he was touted as being really good, but he was coming off a blown ACL, and you drafted him in the first round.
Yeah.
Yep. But it's hard because he was supposed to be like top 10 guy. Get him in the 20s.
Right.
It was a flyer.
Yep.
But
yeah. That's right. So in the last 15 years, he's missed once on defense in the first round. I mean, I don't know.
Just keep that train rolling.
Yeah. I like those odds. Yep.
Yeah. Offensive line or defensive SEC, Georgia.
Yeah.
Get me anybody off that defensive line. They were the biggest people I've ever seen in my life.
And they all run. They fucking fly. Fucking they run.
Yeah.
What did Davis run? Like a 4.5 40?
So that it was him and Wyatt. They were the first and third fastest D tackles at the combine. Wyatt's gonna go early, but Davis is way bigger than him, and he's fucking almost as fast. It's fucking terrifying.
Yeah, I remember we were watching a Georgia game last year, and you were talking about about Jordan Davis. And I was like, oh, which one is he? And then I saw him on the screen and I go, oh, is he the massive one that's like 4 feet taller than everybody else? And you're like, yeah that's him.
Fucking huge.
So, I mean, there's potential, hopefully.
It'll be an interesting year, if anything.
Yeah. Before we wrap this up, do we have an update on Tiger? Bob, are you watching
I don't have
Masters?
ESPN Plus in the basement. So
I tried to log into the Hulu on the TV that's in the office, and it's not signed in.
Yeah,
So.
Jones is saying that he's playing well, but dude, he's +7 right now.
I mean, there's no chance he's less than 0%.
He can't even get into like.
He's 1 under today.
Okay.
1 under through 2.
Yeah.
All right, so we birdied the par. Of course, he birdied the par 5 today. The fucking cocksucker. Yeah. He never birdies too.
Oh wait, I can't get it.
I will give him this. I love Tiger. Right?
Yeah, so do we.
I love seeing him play. I didn't obviously he's not going to win.
No,
but he had one swing. And I was like, Tiger. I think Tiger's back. He hit it out of the pine needles. I think Thursday.
Yeah, it was probably the 14th hole on Thursday.
And
he recoiled too.
Yeah.
Full recoil, full like. That was Tiger. And I was like, Jesus, okay. I thought, and then I'm like, you know what? Maybe he's going to win, but obviously not.
Yeah.
But he's back, and I think he's going to get better as he strengthens that leg.
St. Andrews is in July.
The Open in July.
St. Andrews is in July. If I was him, I would not go to Southern Hills. I would not go to the Country Club.
No,
I would skip the PGA and I would skip the US Open this year.
Yeah. He just hit his tee shot on 4 into the opposite side bunker.
You can get up and down from there. Did you see his irons just sold for fucking $4.3 million? The Tiger Slam irons.
Really?
So 2000, 2001. They are Titleist brand, but I guess on the pictures it doesn't say Titleist. It's just like a T stamp because they were making them just for him. That's the one where the 8 iron on the face has the wear pattern that's like fucking smaller than a dime. And I was listening to a podcast with the guy who bought them in 2010. They were on for $250,000. No one bought them. And then he didn't say how much he paid for them because no one bought them. Then he found them somewhere else. So he bought them, held on to them for 12 years. And they sold last night. I believe 4.3 was the final number.
Wow. Who does that, right? Like who has $4.3 million to buy?
No one, you know.
Well, no, I know. I clearly, right? But it's like, I don't know. That's a weird thing, right? Like there's a very select amount of people in the world that can afford to spend $4.3 million on Tiger Woods' old golf clubs just to like put them on display in their house, right? Like,
yeah, and maybe resell them in 20 years for 10.
Yeah.
You guys watch Seinfeld ever?
Yep.
Do you remember the episode? I don't know. I think, what was his name? Elaine's boss bought John F. Kennedy's clubs.
Oh, yeah.
That
was Peterman.
Peterman. All the heads snapped.
Right. So let's play the game, right? You have that money. You just bought Tiger Woods' clubs from the Tiger Slam.
Yep.
Do you swing them?
No. Nope. I do not.
I might have that money.
I might. If I have that money, I might. Like me right now, if I were to somehow acquire those clubs, I'm not swinging them. But if I had $4.3 million to spend to buy them, I would swing each club at least once.
All right. So
just to be like, I swung Tiger's club.
This is the way I look at it. If you're going to swing it once, you're probably not just swinging it once. I know how golf works. Those wear patterns are very, very specific. Very specific. And if you really want to know what it's like to hit those, go on eBay. Because you just spent $4 million on these. You can go on eBay. You can spend about $400, get a set of Nike VR blades, and it's probably the same club. Because if you look at all of his clubs through the year, even when they change brands, the clubs don't change. So it's Dynamic Gold X100 shafts, regular Golf Pride grips. It's the blade setup. The wedges are Vokies. He plays a 58 bent to a 56 and a 60.
Mr. Golf Pro.
Autistic.
We got Chubbs over here. Have you ever swung a blade?
Yeah, it's awful.
I have one blade. It's a 7-iron. I hit it like once a game. Like, so if I play 18, I'll hit it good once.
So I've hit a couple like modern blades, and I use light shafts in my clubs. So swinging a heavy shaft with a blade, I can't even get the ball off the ground. So I have my grandfather's clubs. They're probably from the late 60s, 70s. And those are legit blades, old lofts. The shafts in them are heavy. The grips are like nothing. I've hit those. Actually, me and Mello did something with those one day. And those feel great when you hit them good.
Yeah.
When you hit them bad, it feels like a foul ball in April. And it's just
we should do a live from a course, play around and record live.
So we actually, that's what when he said that, him and I, because you're what, a 4 handicap or something, like 3-4?
I think 3.2 on the app.
And so I'm like a 22, like I'm not good. So we did we played a match with last year or 2 years ago now, where he played with his grandfather's clubs and I played with my clubs. And then I think I still got a stroke,
So I think before the round, I gave you the choice. I go, I'll give you one per hole, or I give you a mully a hole. And I think you took the mully, which may have been a
veteran move.
You know what? So here's the problem. It may have actually hurt him, because if the mully didn't resort to a good shot, he was still just as screwed as he was before. So, it's like if you're hitting, a tee shot and you take your mully there, but then you don't hit the green on that next like par 3 tee shot, it's like, oh shit, you're still going to make 4, but you were going to make 4 before, but I was going to knock one off. So that may have been the mistake there. But I played these idiots in a 3-man scramble one time. It's so Mello's with about 22. Vinny plays maybe 6 times a year, and Jones has maybe played 6 times in his life, and they fucking tagged me at down the Cape. I was like,
the very first hole, we step up to a par 4, and it's a short par 4, and I hit driver and I drive the green.
Then Jones hasn't played at all. I don't even know when he said it was like years since the last time he played. Buries the putt. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me.
We get eagle on the first hole. We're like, let's go.
So I'm always trying to find like fun stuff to do.
Yeah, that'd be
that. Because like when I play with the people around me, it's always like, oh well, we got to stretch it out, and we'll play $10 Nassau with 2 down presses, and I'm like, God damn it, I can't keep up with all this shit.
If we wrap up here, before we go, if you had that money, that 4.8, if you had that money to spend, what would you buy memorabilia wise?
Ooh.
Your prized possession.
I might try and find the David Ortiz home run ball from the 2004 ALCS. I don't think that would be $4 million because it's ALCS, but like we were fucking like somewhere between like 10 and 14, like when that happened. Like you're still young, like you love baseball. Like when you're a young boy between like 9 and 15, you love baseball. Like everything about it is, or at least we did. I don't know what kids do today. They don't like sports. They like watching other people play video games. But when we were younger, it was like baseball was it. Like it's just everything about it. And no one was good when we were kids. Like all of our teams sucked.
Yep.
And the Red Sox winning like in 2004 was the first time Like they won in the 86 years. It was great. Like that 04 Red Sox team was wild. So if I had that kind of money, I would try and track down the David Ortiz home run ball from, it could be any of them. I don't really care, from that ALCS when they beat the Yankees. But
I was literally going to say that bat.
Yeah.
That bat is what I want.
Yeah. The bat that he used.
Yeah. So my head immediately goes to, I'm giving those Tiger irons a very, very strong consideration.
Yeah.
Very, very strong. Because my first memory really of like Tiger and golf is him playing 2000 at Pebble Beach. So those are the irons. So now the other now if I'm spending or I have the money, nothing else buys, or 4 million buys more than enough of everything else. Like everything else that I'm about to say, like, are under consideration. 4 million probably buys all of it.
Right.
But you're looking at any memorabilia from the 2014 Super Bowl, any memorabilia from the 2016 Super Bowl. Probably looking at 01, maybe the ball, or maybe the Brady jersey. I mean, he did march them down in the fourth quarter.
The K-ball from 01, the one that Vinatieri put through the fucking uprights. That would be pretty sweet.
Yeah. It wouldn't be a prized possession, but obviously I'm a Florida State football fan. So the ball that Kelvin Benjamin caught to win the national championship, or even like Kermit Whitfield's kick return. But like, if we're talking like the prized possession, I'm giving a very strong consideration to those irons. And I think it might be that, because the other hard part though is in golf, these irons, the guy said before the Masters even started, they were up to like $850, and they were already the most expensive golf memorabilia ever. I think it was Horton Smith's green jacket. So he was the first guy to win. His green jacket fetched 600,000, I think.
That would be a cool one too.
That would be a cool one. Any green jacket.
I wouldn't care. Any green jacket.
Yep. I think, like one of Arnold's.
Yeah.
Jack's fine. It rubs me the wrong way, because it's like Tiger should have fucking passed him.
Yeah. Never know. Still could.
Yeah.
What's he need? 2 more or 3 more?
3 more ties.
3 to tie. Yeah.
So he's got the Masters forever. He's got the Open. I think he has got the Open as long as he wants it. I would skip the US Open. He probably ain't winning that.
Yeah.
Unless, I don't even know. I don't even know what it would take. The Bombers are just going to fucking win that. And he's still out there, but he ain't some of these guys.
Yeah. He might be able to pull off a PGA depending on where it goes.
You know, the PGA has moved to this like just long gargantuan thing now. So it's like, it's probably going to be a par 70. Like, so Southern Hills is this year. It's probably going to be a 70 because it's regularly a 71. So it'll just move par. It's going to be long. It's going to be straight. It's going to be in Oklahoma in May. So that's going to be very, very windy. The PGA is probably going to be the closest thing to a regular tour event. But dude, these guys hit the ball very fucking far now.
Yeah.
And it's like Tiger, as good as he is with his
Joaquin
irons.
Joaquin Neiman was out driving Tiger by like 30 yards.
Dude, he was third in the field this week, Neiman.
Yeah. And Tiger was hitting great shots.
Everything's below 300 for Tiger now.
Yeah. And be it now he's probably as good from maybe like 15 yards back with an approach shot. So if like we're, compare 150 to 165, because he's so good with his irons, he probably has about a 15-yard range where he's just as good. But
that was the most impressive thing I've seen from him this weekend, was how much his touch is still there.
Yeah.
From 20 in.
Yeah.
It was incredible. Some of those chips.
Oh yeah. Well, he knows this place, and when the leg obviously got to stand on it, but when his back was fucked up, all he could do was chip and putt. So
yeah. It was uncharacteristic that his putting has been bad, like flat out bad, this weekend. But I mean, I guess
he would sneak up on you. He's not as good of a putter as people think.
Right. But I mean, you think about it too, like the old, all the old guys that talk about, well, putting is a consistency thing. So if he didn't play for 17 months, And now he come out like you would have to expect that the putting's not going to be great, but I wouldn't have expected him to be bad. He's flat out bad at putting this weekend, but
Yep.
It'll get better. Should be a lot better at St. Andrews too. So, so with that, I think it is time to start wrapping this up. So Eric, you're the guest. If you you can go first. Do you have any final thoughts?
Final thoughts. I guess for Adam Schefter, man, get off the soapbox, just do your job.
Yeah.
Report facts. That's it. Leave your opinion out of it. Don't be a dickhead.
Don't be a dickhead.
That's it.
That's a good motto to live by.
I got one.
What do you got?
And I tweeted this out the other day. People who use two sauces to dip the same anything have gut issues. So I'm going to give you an example. Let's just take a standard chicken finger and you are to dip it. And this is like, so standard plain chicken finger. You dip it in barbecue, or I guess buffalo would make more sense. Dip it in the buffalo and then immediately dip it in the ranch. Thus mixing whatever your second one is.
Yeah.
That is absolute serial killer shit.
Yes.
If you want buffalo and you want to dip in blue ranch, blue cheese or ranch. Yeah, blue ranch. It's a combination of both. Toss the wings in the buffalo and then dip like a fucking normal person. Like I don't know where some people how the fuck does it make sense to take it and dip it in one thing and then dip it in another? It's like, oh, I got a paintbrush, so I'll just dip it in one and dip it in the other because that's like fucking different. Like, where the fuck do you get off with this shit? I don't know. People are fucking mongrels, and
because then the second sauce
is all fucked up,
not being the real second sauce.
And I don't even like any creamy based dipping sauces.
Oh my god, that's all I eat.
And it's like, listen, it's just not. I just don't like it. That's fine. But like, I'm looking at it and I go, you're taking the buffalo and you dip and dip. All the buffalo ends up in the cream one. It's like
you also, yeah, you dip in the buffalo, you lose half the buffalo.
Yeah, if you're gonna mix them anyway, just fucking mix them.
You might as well just put the two sauces in the same.
That's what I'm saying.
Out of that. Yeah.
Like what the fuck? So yeah, if you're gonna do the two sauce thing, whatever you take, whatever vehicle it is, get it coated first, and then you get one dip. That's it, one dipping sauce.
Yeah. I'll tell you this, lately, any restaurant I go to, I've been absolutely burying any aioli on the menu.
That's like a new big thing not new, but like I would say within the last like 5-10 years, aioli is like this whole thing. And everyone's like, oh, you have to go try like these truffle fries with the aioli and like all of this stuff. And it's like
they're combining flavors now. Yesterday, I went to this place in Haverhill, Stacks.
Okay.
I don't venture. My neck of the woods.
Yeah, I don't.
It's like a brunch, breakfast, lunch place, and they had this stuff truffalo aioli. It's truffle with buffalo aioli.
yeah, and so it's like people like lose their minds over like aioli and everything, and I'm like, it's it's mayo, right? Like it's just mayonnaise. It's mayo. It's cool flavored. It's like good mayo, right? I guess is what it is. It's not shitty, Miracle Whip.
I'm such a sauce person, though. You get every sauce, just give me it.
Yeah,
give me every sauce.
I like a good sauce.
I'll also give the aioli people credit. As long as you don't make the aioli with like mayo base, it's like, oh, we have a garlic aioli. It's like, no, you just mix garlic and mayo. That's not the same. Yeah. If you actually make the shit yourself, I'll give you the fucking credit, even if it effectively just comes out to being like bougie mayo. Fine, because you made it, but like. Yeah, it's like at the end of the day, like everyone relax. It's good.
Yeah.
But that's why you chose to get what you got, because it's good.
Yeah. And if I'm not making it at home, it always tastes better.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
So
exactly. All right. So my final thought is I realized this the other day. Obviously, you get older and you become a lot lamer, right? But what I've noticed is like, I don't know if it's it's a thing of getting older or its thing is like being a homeowner now. And like more of like a real homeowner. Like I know me and Bob owned a home, but like we did a
Didn't
little
do
bit here
anything.
and there. We didn't do too much with it, but so my buddy Mike, shout out to Mike, friend of the show, he's been on before, texted me like yesterday, and he goes, "Hey, are you free in 2 weeks?" Like knowing that like I always have like stupid shit going on. Like he wanted to get together at some point, but it was like the weekend of Bill's wedding. So I was like, oh man, I got a wedding. I can't do that. So he texted me yesterday and he goes, "Are you free in 2 weeks?" And I'm like, I sat there, and before I answered, I was like, I don't know, am I? And I got to like think and like look at my calendar and like plan it out. So like, obviously this weekend, nothing gets done because it's Masters weekend. And then next weekend, I got a dumpster being delivered to the house because we got to clear out the basement because we had construction in the house over the summer, and then the basement flooded like a month ago. So we moved everything to the basement, then it got wet. So now we need a dumpster. We got to clean it out. We got to do that. That's next weekend. And then I'm like, all right. So the following weekend, like I got to turn over the front grass and reseed the whole lawn. And then I'm looking like the next weekend, like is Jaimo's bachelor party. And I'm like looking and I'm like, I got all this fucking shit planned. Like, who am I? Like, I don't like doing this shit, but like I have something to do every weekend for the next like month. And when I replied back to him, I was like, yeah, like I should be free. Like all I have to do is like I said, turn over the front yard and reseed the whole thing, but like should only take me a couple hours. And he was like, all right, cool. What about like the Friday night then? And I was like, yeah, that's fine. Friday works. But it's like one of the, like, I just sat there and I had that moment of like, what the fuck? This sucks.
10 years ago, yeah, I'm free in 2 minutes.
Yeah, right? Like 10 years ago, if you were like, oh, are you free in 2 weeks? I'd be like, why the fuck are you asking me now?
Yeah, I'm free now. I'm free.
Yeah, I'm free now. Let's go. I'm actually sitting at the bar. What are you doing?
We have a friend who, so a couple of us have moved and we're not all on Medford anymore. And he'll send us, we're like, hey, let's get together next weekend. Every time we do this, he'll send us like an itinerary of list of just dates listed out that he's free. Oh, like 6 months. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, I don't know what I'm doing in 3 hours. And this guy is that kind of structured, but it fits. And then weddings every other week.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say
this
like
year, this year is wild for weddings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have like 5. That's
I have 5 too.
That's what
and
we
one
have.
of them is my own.
Yeah.
And with like, because with work, it's like I have to know other people's schedules too. So it's like if someone asks me, it's like, oh, do you want to like try to play golf one weekend? I'm like, weekends are tough. Let me see what I can do. I believe the first weekend I now have available is the first week of June.
Yeah.
Between covering and my own shit going on. I think that's what I'm looking at. I'm like, you have got to be fucking kidding me.
And let alone like whatever. I'm sure you have a day where you have to work in the morning and then go do something in the afternoon too.
I'm sure there is because I think I'm working I think Chris is out every week of May. No, he's 3 out of 4 weekends in May. He's out. I'm like, you are fucking killing me. And then I look at it, I go, oh, so you know how like you're out all of May? That's probably me in June.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I have some, maybe not, but it might be. Who the fuck knows?
Yeah. Well, if it's not, start booking shit. Make him work all of June, every Saturday in
Oh,
June.
I'm not worried. Yeah. See, that's the thing is I'm not worried about that. Or I'm just going to go play a bunch of golf tournaments on a Monday and you figure it out. Because Mondays are way harder to figure out than Friday, Saturday. So
Right. Yeah.
The adult life is
it's awful.
It's a lot different.
It's truly terrible.
But like that's the other thing too. Like you said, your buddy that like has this whole itinerary thing. Like that's not me. Like I'm not a person that like tries to plan everything out. Yeah. Like I actually hate that. But like just knowing in my head, like I have a list of things that I need to get done at the house. And because of the scope of what they are, I can't do them all in a day or all in a weekend. Like it's going to take me one whole weekend to do the dumpster in the basement. It's going to take me one whole weekend or most of one day to do the reseeding, like I got to build a new fucking lawn essentially. And it's like, it's just dumb shit like that. And you're like, I don't want to be old anymore. I want to be 15 again and just watch some stupid baseball game that's on at 2:00. Like I want to watch like the Rockies play the Cubs for no reason because I just have nothing else to do.
Give me the responsibilities I had as a 10-year-old. Now as a 30-year-old.
Yeah. Yeah, like that would be great. I'm just gonna hop on my bike and ride to the park. Dude, you're 30. Yeah. What are you doing? I don't know.
Hey, I rode my bike every fucking day during this fucking pandemic. and it was a blast. And I rode it to the park.
Did you use the bike lane?
No. I refuse.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's gonna do it for us. Shout out to gotta pay the bills, I guess. So we got mybookie.com. You go over there, use a promo code SarcasmPod when you sign up, and they will double your first deposit up to $1,000 over at mybookie.com. Second, we have grillyourassoff.com. Eric, you like to grill?
I do.
What is it, Spencer? Fuck off. They just added a hot sauce.
They did just add a hot sauce. You know, if you go to grillyourassoff.com and use our promo code SarcasmPod, you get 15% off your entire order over there. Phenomenal website. I use their seasonings almost every time I cook. That's awesome. They got a hot sauce now. They got barbecue sauces. They got pickles. I'm not a pickle guy, but if you like pickles, they got a bunch of different kinds. They got all kinds of shit, hats, t-shirts. It's pretty cool spot over there. They're veteran owned and supported too, so that's always fun. So
good looking seasonings in here. I'm looking at it right now.
Oh yeah, they're amazing. There's like 10 different flavors, I think, something like that. So
the pork rub and the mango habanero fucking lights out.
Yeah, they're really good. So that's grillyourassoff.com over there. You can get us on Twitter at sarcasm_speaks. Our Instagram is at sarcasmspeakspod. Our Facebook page is Sarcasm Speaks. The website is sarcasmspeaks.com. Anywhere you go, Sarcasm Speaks, that's us. Like, subscribe, rate, review on all those things, YouTube, Spotify, whatever you do. And until next time, good night, everyone.